I don't know. I'm not really a huge fan of like cursing in music unless, I mean, sometimes it can be very impactful, which I like in Rage Against the Machine.
That's literally what I was gonna say.
Whenever it adds like that, I really love it.
All the jokes about Lars and like, oh, it's just a bad joke.
Oh, yeah.
So someone commented, Lars better hope the rest of the band doesn't see this video. And I was like, thanks, man. Evan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Ed, of course, man. You got some good content going on. So, for people who don't know what you do and put out online, you want to give a little brief description?
So basically, I post drum covers online every day, mostly 80s music, but I'll literally play anything. I posted Bruno Mars like 2 weeks ago. I'm just a big music lover. I like sharing what I can do and just inspiring others.
Yeah, and as a fellow drummer, I love that, bro. So how long have you been posting for?
It's been about 2 years now. I started in 2020 with COVID. I picked up my drums during COVID because of that.
So how long were you playing drums before you started posting stuff?
I started, and so whenever we got out of school in like that, what was it, like February, March, I was at home sitting around and I was like, hey, I need to like do something. This is driving me crazy. And I was getting back into listening to like music, like stuff that my dad had showed me. And I was like, dude, if I can play this, because I played clarinet, but it's like you can't play Motley Crue on clarinet. So I was like, if I can play this music on like an instrument, that would be so cool. And I had a drum kit because my dad had got me it earlier, but I was awful because I was like self-taught and I didn't even really like fully commit. So then over COVID, I watched YouTube videos. I learned the technique, totally learned how to start properly playing. And then, so that was like March. And then by like late June, early July, I started posting videos online. And I was also in a band that I created. So
That's awesome. My dad's a drummer, so he always had the set in the basement when I was younger. He'd play sometimes, and he always asked me ever since probably like when I was in 5th grade. He's like, hey, you want to try it sometime? And I'd always put it off. I'd be like, maybe some other day, blah, blah, whatever. And then like 2 years later after that rolled around, and I was like, I'll try it. Why not? And best decision I've ever made.
yeah, for real. It's like a chore at first. Like whenever you're young, you take it for granted. And as you grow older, I don't know about you, but like music has just meant more to me personally. I just connect more to it and I just want to have a stronger connection, and I get that through playing it. So
100%. I completely agree with that, because when I was younger, I'd always listen to music and I'd enjoy it, but there was never the real connection with the lyrics, I don't even know how to word it, just the connection with the music and the instrument itself. Like being able to really feel that.
You're listening, but you're not actually listening. Yeah.
Right. There's like it's kind of a crazy thing. There's like a huge difference between just listening to music and then playing an instrument and like really getting in the structure of everything.
Yeah. There's also, I don't know about you, but like whenever I'm in different moods as well, I hear songs differently. Like I'll listen to these sad songs whenever I'm working out and I'm feeling good in life, and I'm like, yeah, this is a good song. And then whenever I'm depressed and I'm listening to that song, I'm like, dude, I connect so well with these lyrics. It hits you totally different. You just start listening and you're like, oh my God, this is like, I feel like I'm experiencing this.
But that's what I was just going to say. That's the great thing about music. You can listen to it when you're in different moods, and it has such a different effect on you. And then another thing I always like to say is like, the artist can come out with a song and it can mean whatever. It's about the artist's life. It's about a love in the past that they've had, whatever the topic is. And they write it for a specific reason. But then you can go and listen to the song and have and feel and think it's about something completely different. And that's like the beautiful thing about it.
Yeah. Crazy.
Because I'll listen to anything, and I'll, like, for example, Metallica. I'll think a song is about a certain way, and then I'll look it up, and James Hetfield actually meant this, and I'm like, that's really interesting. I didn't really interpret it as that.
Yeah.
So you wanted to talk a little bit about when you started making content to where you are now? Because you gained some followers, you gained a lot of traction over the past 2 years, and you wanted to share some of the inside stuff, some of the secrets to help people grow their accounts.
Yeah. So a big thing is obviously dedication. Like for me, I was posting every day. I was like, hey man, I have nothing better to do. It's not that hard to just record a short 2-minute video and post it, edit it up. And I found it fun. So I was like, I'm just gonna really commit and do this. And if you're doing stuff that's like trending or popular, like sometimes I would play songs that were more popular because there would even be like 80 songs that just start trending on TikTok or something. So if you just like look around at like what's happening in society, and a big thing that people don't even realize, like those reels, YouTube shorts, those things are like overpowered right now. It's crazy. Like I have 2.4 on 2.4 thousand subscribers on YouTube, and that's all because of YouTube shorts. All because of it. Just some of them blow up and then people follow you. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And like, because I always hear YouTubers talk about like how difficult it is for them, and I feel like I cheated because this is YouTube Shorts. It's like way easier because full videos are so hard to get like views on.
I agree with those.
But yeah, with Reels, TikToks, if they're like that's what sucks. So it works against me personally because usually the shorter the video, the more views it gets. But I like posting like 60-second videos because it's a drum cover. But yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the difficult things, especially with my podcast that I have going on, because it's an hour long plus, and most people's it's sad to say, but most people's attention spans are very very low nowadays. So it's like they'll watch it for a minute and they're like, all right, let me watch the next thing. But yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna add one more thing though, because I didn't even know about this, and I feel like more people should know about it and take advantage of it. So I was posting reels on Instagram every day. And then after, I don't know, like a year or something, eventually I get this message from Instagram, and they're like, hey, you can start making money now for posting reels. So now I make like $100 a month on Instagram for posting reels. And Facebook is starting to pay me too. But it's much worse on Facebook. But still, like, if you guys just go out there, get dedicated, post anything, just a lot, get a good amount of views, you just got to stay dedicated to it. That's an easy $100 a month. Like, so easy.
Wait, so how does that work? Do you need a certain amount of views and watch time?
I have no idea. No one really knows if you Google it. It's called like real bonuses, and you get paid per the amount of views you get. And so just one random day, this happens for everyone. You just get a message, both on Facebook and Instagram. They'll just randomly send you a message that says you can now start making money. So it took me like a year until I got it. I've had it for like a year now. So.
Hey, well, good for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with the one thing I noticed with the shorts is it's done a lot of good for me, and also it's like bipolar a little bit. So like I'll post something and it'll get, I don't know, within the day it'll get 3 views, and then I'll post something else, and within 5 minutes it'll get 2,000 views, and it's like, it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, they just pay them once.
Yeah, and I did a little bit of digging, and it was like since YouTube Shorts is somewhat new, and they're trying to compete with TikTok and everything, and they're really
make it better. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And they're really pushing on like showing your content, whatever you put out to a bunch of people, right? And then it just like drops yours, and then picks up the next person's, and then just keeps rolling with other people. So it's not really I don't know if it ever will be, or if it happens for some users, or maybe it'll happen for me. I don't really think it's like a gradual thing, like over today, tomorrow. It's like a all at once or all in nothing kind of thing.
Well, and they're like making the YouTube Shorts system better, which is good. So like hopefully it'll be better on the views, because they just recently added it, which is cool. Because it used to be you have to get a certain amount of watch hours on full videos to get money on YouTube, but now if you get like 1 million or something views of shorts, then you can make money too. So that's cool.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, the only thing about that is I think before they did that update, I believe they counted the watch time for shorts into the normal.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
They didn't?
No, they didn't. Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
I know personally because that was like the
Cause
majority of my videos. Yeah.
okay, yeah. But yeah, I mean that I think it's really good that they implemented it because for a long time YouTube was just
Yeah.
without the shorts, without the short form content, and just a normal YouTube video. So it's definitely a great way to help people out, and especially
Yeah.
people like us.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about just how you started drumming. Like I know you told me that you during COVID and stuff, but you also told me that your dad was an influence, right?
Yeah. So I didn't get serious, like I said, till like 2020, because that's when I actually like put in the work. But yeah, growing up, my dad always would play in the car just around me. We would even go to concerts, uh, to see like these 80s hair metal bands, like Cinderella. That was my first ever concert. It was so loud. Um, but so my dad plays guitar, and he has for a while, and he wanted to have someone to be able to play with. So he just randomly bought me a drum kit, like no reason, just bought me a drum kit. And as a like 5-year old, I would just bang on it. I could not play the hi hat and the snare at the same time, so I don't count that as like my drumming years. But we played a gig at Relay for Life when I was like 7 with Kiss makeup on, and my dad had Kiss makeup on, which was cool. But yeah,
Wait, so yeah, I remember when I first started, um, the biggest thing was I wasn't able because in most all the basic beats it's hi hat, snare, bass drum. I was only able to do the hi hat and the snare, and the bass drum I couldn't do. So like for the first
yeah. There's
week,
always
few weeks,
one you
whatever it
can't do.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. So like for the first few weeks, or whatever, it's just I wanted to learn a specific song. It was "Moving Out" by Billy Joel because he was my favorite artist at the time. Because it has the straightforward beat where it's like
Yeah.
well and for all that. And so I just do the hi hat and the snare, and then a few weeks later I was able to incorporate the bass, and it's like all right, I'm getting used to this.
Yeah.
And I mean something that's really great is once you get to like you have songs when you first start playing that you're like, all right, I want to play this, but like obviously you're not at the skill level. So I think the most beautiful thing is to like be like, all right, I want to play this song one day, and then you get to that day to where you're able to play it, and then you can look back and you're like, damn, I never thought I would be able to play a song this difficult, but now I can do it.
One thing that I love about drumming as well, I mean, you can literally play like almost any song. Like you might not be playing it correctly, but you can still like make it work.
Right.
And it's there's nothing like learning a song correctly and play. It's so amazing. I that's something that's part of my story that I like discovered recently. Like whenever I would first do the drum covers, it was kind of like I grew up on the song, so I was just like, oh hey, me and my dad played this together. This is how I play it. But like the past like year or so, so for like a year of my career, I was doing that, and then for the other year, I was actually looking up like the drum parts, and it just goes so perfectly with the music whenever you actually play it correctly, and it's just like so satisfying to do
Yeah. And I think another thing that like that's like the perfection of it. And it's also kind of cool to hear like cover bands and other artists play like the big songs and kind of do a little bit of their own take and switch some things up. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but it's different.
Yeah.
So for so you play in a band now that you started. When how I don't know if you said before, when in your career did you start the band?
So I'm actually in my second, well, kind of third band now, but back home, one of my friends connected me with a guitarist, and we created a band, slowly gathered other members, and then by we formed in like the fall, and then by January we were playing gigs, so it was a pretty fast transition, and we kind of blew up really quick. We after that January we got a bunch of gigs, and that was a really cool experience. But this story can also connect into what we're going to talk about later. But so with them, I had planned on leaving eventually because I planned to go to college, and obviously I can't be in a band in my hometown. And so, like summertime rolled around, and I was planning on like staying with them for like a little bit longer. But they wanted to make like an album, and it was going to cost us each like $500. And I was like, okay, one, I'm leaving. Two, I really don't think making an album is going to do anything. I really think it's just a waste of money. Because that's one thing that's frustrating whenever I try to start bands. There's always that one person who's like, oh, we're going to play original songs. It's like, the moneymaker is cover songs. We were making so much money going to restaurants and playing covers. Like, if you're a musician, I would really advise you to just learn a bunch of cover songs. You could be a cover band, like these AC/DC cover bands. They're playing huge venues, making a lot of money. That's the money maker. I mean, very few people actually get selected to become famous with their original music. But
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's something we'll get into later. But how did it work when you first started playing? What was the process like to get all those different gigs?
yeah, so basically, we either had like friends that we knew, like connections, like family friends and stuff, who knew like a restaurant owner or something, or a big thing was actually just going to the place and talking to them or sending them an email. Like there was this big venue on our local beach, Pensacola Beach, which is a pretty big area, and we just straight up went there and we're like, hey, we're a band, we want to play some music, and they gave us the manager's number and we started playing there a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I have my own band now. We're a cover band as of right now. We're working on getting gigs and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that, you never know until you ask. And like a lot of people assume, not even just in like music, but in like everything in life, like so many of us just assume the answer will be no. But if you don't ask, then you'll never know, because it quite possibly could be yes.
Yeah, something that I always hear everyone saying, it's really true. Like even with my videos, with girls, with music, with everything, you just gotta do it a bunch. You either ask a bunch of girls if they like you and see how many say yes, or you ask a bunch of venues how many you can play at. You post so many videos, some of them are gonna do awful, some are gonna blow up. You just gotta be patient, stay dedicated, and just not be like ashamed or embarrassed. If you really want something, you have to go out and work for it. It might be tough sometimes, but you'll be rewarded if you work hard.
Yeah, and it's all about like if you're passionate about it or not, because there's so many people that I think are doing stuff online and putting out content that they're just doing it because they want a following. And of course, all of us want a following, but like I know, I'm sure you, and I know for me, for example, like I do this because I genuinely enjoy having conversations with people, learning new things, getting other people's opinions on things. It's just something that I enjoy doing. So even though I'm not making money over there right now, or I don't have 1 million subscribers, I don't mind because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah. So, well, the big thing for me is just seeing those positive comments about how either someone was having a bad day and then you made it better, or they just, for a lot of comments I always get, and they're very nice, is like these older people saying how like I brought them back to their old memories, and that's just something sweet.
Yeah, that's really cool. So tell me a little bit of just about performing and the live performances you've had, because I know for me, whenever I'm on stage, I love it. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, I've talked to like a lot of my friends about this. Like the biggest playing on a live performance is like the best drug ever. Like it has been a downfall of like so many of our beloved musicians. Like a lot of reason why these musicians overdose and end up killing themselves is because they're addicted to like the love and feeling that they get from playing live. And they're just trying anything they can to replicate that feeling and keep that high. But when they can't get it, it kills you. But yeah, it's crazy because personally, I don't know about you, but like giving speeches in class or just talking in front of other people, I get nervous, like, and I start shaking or sweating. But every time, even my first gig that I've like drummed, I don't get nervous at all. I just love it. And yeah, that feeling is amazing. Your heart starts pumping. I've had times where I've been like sick before a gig, but as soon as I start playing, I feel instantly better. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. I remember the first time I ever played live in front of an audience. I was definitely scared and nervous at first, but it's like after like the first minute of you playing, it's like you get into it and you just forget about that.
Yeah.
And I think that can apply to like so many other things in life. Like you'll always psych yourself out and be so nervous about something before you do it, but then you do it, and within the first minute of you doing it, you realize it's not even that bad, and it's like, why was I nervous about this?
Yeah. And a lot of people I see, like, a lot of people waste their musical talent because they're just scared of like what other people are gonna think. But like, if you're listening to this and you're a musician, I've seen so many live bands where someone is awful and they're still getting gigs and playing these places. Like, people are drunk, people don't care. Like, just work hard and get out there, because I mean there's a job opportunity for everyone no matter your skill level.
Right. And even if you're not like the best, it's like you can still enjoy doing it and then climb
Yeah.
the ladder as you're doing it and progressively get better.
Yep.
Because we all have to start from somewhere. I mean, it's very easy. This applies again to everything in life. It's very easy to look at someone better than you and then just be like, damn, like I wish I could be like them. And then maybe get a little discouraged at what you're doing. But it's like we're all on different paths. There's some people that started at a much younger age than you did and had so much more practice time and this and that. Like, you ever watch those kids on YouTube, those 3-year-old prodigies who are better than you? It's like, why am I drumming?
Yeah, I always watch people and I'm like, damn, if I was only as good as them. But like, I mean, one thing that's really cool about like music itself is like everyone has their own style. So like, there's not even, I mean, there is a skill level, but like everyone just plays everything differently and they have their own interpretation. And that's what makes it unique. That's what makes new artists like cooler than someone else, because they play it differently. Like Stuart Copeland from The Police drums so differently from anyone else. Like, you don't have to be like everyone else.
Right. And I'm sure at the time some people looked at his drumming and were like, oh, this is different, this is weird. But nowadays you look at it and you're like, this guy's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Other than, I mean, I'm not trying to hate on AC/DC or anything, but whenever I started to listen to them, I'm like, why do the drums sound that? Why are all the songs sound the same, man? But yeah, so you were telling me about something called Rock and Roll Fantasy, something that you went to.
Yep. And that's actually how I met the guitarist of the band that I'm in now. And that's how I got connected with them. But yeah, so basically, they were doing this thing called Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, which is like an opportunity to get to play with like famous musicians. I was originally supposed to go during, what was it, like fall of 2021 or something. But with all the COVID stuff, I actually tested positive for COVID. But it sucked because I had zero symptoms, and I didn't even know, because they make you take a test before you go. I didn't even know I had COVID, and then I take the test because zero symptoms, but positive, so I couldn't go. It was supposed to be Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest, one of the guys from Deep Purple, Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden, Insane Drummer. But yeah, that was more of a metal one. But the one I ended up going to was later on over like spring break. And it was Joe Perry of Aerosmith, Bernard Reed of Living Colour, and Tico Torres of Bon Jovi. And that was an amazing experience. And also, you have these counselors that are with you. So with like the three famous people, you play one song with them, you take a photo with them. You don't have that much time with them, but still playing a song with them is crazy. But there's counselors that are like famous musicians from like smaller bands, but they're still like famous. Like my counselor was Greg Potter, who replaced Buddy Rich in his band. But he's an insane drummer, Greg. It was such a cool experience to have him as a counselor because his skill level was just insane. But the whole thing was just a really cool experience. And like being in the room with those people, and then actually, because we talked about the feeling of like playing someone's music on an instrument, but imagine playing that music with that person in the room and they're playing it as well. It was incredible. And of course, Joe Perry had his guitar amp to like 11. I couldn't hear my own drums. It was insane.
How long was that?
So it was like over a weekend. You practice each day, and there was like one famous person each day, and it was a really cool experience. and we got videos from it. They're on my YouTube account, and like even it was crazy because even like some of the like Vernon Reed and Tico both gave me compliments about my drumming, and that was just like crazy to hear.
Well, yeah, that's got to be another feeling
Yeah,
for people that have made it that far in music, and they're like, "Hey, you're pretty good, man."
yeah,
Yeah, I remember because Billy Joel is still one of my favorite artists, but when I first started drumming, like he was like my main inspiration, and his original drummer Liberty DeVito, they have their own band called Lords of 52nd Street, and it's him and then like two other of the original members, and my dad was able to get me backstage with him, got some signed drumsticks by him, got to talk to him, but at the time, I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade, so like at that time, like I was so nervous to like meet him, so like I wasn't even able to like have a stable conversation with him. It kind of like standing there, and I'm like, damn, this guy's in the room with me. And so he would ask me, he's like, hey, what's your favorite song to play on drums? What's your favorite Billy Joel song? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, this. He's like, oh, that's cool. But it's being able. No, I haven't met that many people, not that many artists aside from him, but you know, being able to be the music that you absolutely love is just incredible, because it's like you're listening to this stuff every day and you're like, this is the guy that made it. Without him, the song wouldn't be the way it was.
yeah, for sure. And even for me, even though like I've only met a couple famous people in person, it's crazy that I still get those interactions online, like with the videos that I post, and a lot of times that blows me away. Like especially whenever the person's like really old, it's like wow. Like I think his name's Robert. His first name's Robert, but Robert Cool from Cool in the Game, the main guy, liked my video, and that was just insane. And then Michael Jackson's drummer follows me. There's just so many people, and
Oh yeah,
and sometimes they'll comment. Like Hall and Oates has commented on my video and liked my videos. That's just crazy.
yeah, dude, that's amazing. And yeah, I mean, hopefully I get some more opportunities to listen to people. But what concerts have you been to?
Oh, jeez, so many. Mostly, they've all been mostly like I really want to see more 80s new wave / pop bands. Like I'm about to go see Duran Duran, which I'm really excited for. I've never seen them before. But I've seen a lot of 80s hair metal bands: Skid Row, Motley Crue, Poison, Def Leppard, Cinderella, Warrant. Uh, there's so many people. Billy Joel, I just saw. I'm about to see Casey and the Sunshine Band in February, which I'm excited for because I love them. I really want to see Huey Lewis and the News because they're my favorite band ever, but they're not touring, and that upsets me so much.
Yeah, but you know, one of the best things is that some of these bands, like one of my favorite bands is Metallica right now, and you know they've been around for years and years, since the 70s, and they're still going on tour, they're still playing. So to be able to go to like their concerts and have them still sound really great is incredible.
Yeah. That's a big thing. It's always impressive whenever, like, I've seen Metallica and Iron Maiden, and they're just performance level and sound quality is just insane.
Yeah, because it gives us at that age, they're still like I would argue that Metallica specifically, if you watch their live videos from like the 70s, 80s, they sound like a billion times better now than they did then. And for money,
Put into it.
that too. Like, but for you to like be in your 60s and still put on an amazing show and still be that passionate about it, that's so, it's always so great to see. And you can feel it. Like you can, when you're at the concert, you can feel if the artist is really into it or not. And it makes all the difference.
Yeah. One thing that always makes me mad, I don't know about you, but like I hate it whenever, especially whenever they still sound good. I hate it whenever the singer is like, all right, now you guys sing. It's like, bro, I came to hear you.
Exactly.
Especially when their voice is like so amazing. It's like, dude, you need to sing it. Like, why? Like, quit doing that. I need to hear the drunk person next to me singing the song.
Yeah, but I mean, it's have you seen any like any modern artists?
Uh, damn, I don't think so at all. I would love to see. I mean, they don't tour anymore, but the Black Eyed Peas would be really cool. And I recently got into the Weeknd a lot, and I would love to see him because he also puts on an amazing show. And I'm a big fan of like Alice Cooper is one of my favorite people to see live because of his show, and like the Weeknd does something like that, which is also cool.
Yeah, I saw the Weeknd on his last tour.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Wow.
I used to always be like, if it's not like a full band there, and like I can't watch the drummer and like see all the instruments being played, like is it even a concert? But I went to his concert, and it's even though it has like the studio track playing in the background, like him personally, because I haven't seen that many modern artists, but him personally, like he puts on a great show. He has a great voice in person,
Yeah.
and he has the energy. You can tell he's enjoying what he's doing.
Yeah, and he's so talented. I've been so impressed by him. And a reason why I've gotten like really into him is like I was telling you earlier, I like a lot of that 80s new wave and pop. And like his sound, especially on like the new Dawn FM album, it sounds so much like 80s stuff and I just love it. And it's so
Yeah,
catchy. It's good.
yeah, that new album, like his new album, literally blew me away because I try like I listen. I've tried to diversify my music and listen to all the old stuff still, but also the new stuff because I don't want to leave them out of the loop. I want to because there's still a lot of really good modern artists out there. But
Yeah.
one thing I've noticed is like so many rap and hip hop albums that come out within the past few years, and even pop and just pop, and like a lot of the modern artists, most of the albums like I can't get through them. They're just not that good. But like his album came out, and I was like, every single song, I'm like,
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
fuck is this? I'm
Yeah,
like, this is insane. Because I listen, it's unfortunate that I listen to so many pop and rap artists, and I get to the second, third song, and I'm like this isn't that good. And like out of like 10, 15 songs, maybe me personally think like 4 or 5 of them good, but it's like
yeah.
so many of these old artists that you listen to, rock, whatever genre it is, like you can go and listen to the whole album, and the whole album will blow you away, not just 4 songs.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that the Weeknd's next album is just as good because Dawn FM was so good. And that's also a big reason why I've like I mean, Huey Lewis hasn't always been my favorite band. It used to be Cinderella. But for both of them, the reason why I consider them like my top two bands, I just whenever I investigate like more of their music than just the hits, I was like, all of these are good. Like to me personally, the more songs that they have that are good, they're just my favorite band. And I love that sound of Huey Lewis. They have that full band sound. They have trumpets, trombones. They're more of like a blues and rhythm. But I love that. And I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but Blues Brothers, I have a poster right there. Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, 80s movie. That's my favorite movie. And so, and the soundtrack is amazing. They had Cab Calloway, Ray Charles, James Brown were all in the movie, and they play songs in the movie. It's like a musical, basically. But that soundtrack is so good, and just listening to Huey Lewis, it just reminded me of that, and I just love it so much.
Yeah, I definitely I love it when I'll bring it up again. Like Billy Joel, for me personally, he's been my favorite artist for the longest time because I think for someone like him, there's no matter what, I always tell people, no matter what genre you listen to, there's at least 1 or 2 Billy Joel songs that you can listen to and you'll enjoy. Even if you don't like that music at all, you'll enjoy some of his music. And but also I try to think about it as like I can listen to every single one of Billy Joel's albums, and except maybe the first one. There's a few songs in there that are like a little but overall I can listen to so many of the songs that like nobody else listens to, and I'm like, these are low key better. Not that the hits aren't great, but like these are up there. But like nobody's listening to them, and it's like, why? Yeah, but I guess the industry works in a weird way where they'll play his songs on the radio, and that's all people listen to.
Yeah. He's also like he was really funny whenever we saw him. He's cracking a lot of jokes, and he was like, damn, this guy's actually funny. What's your favorite album by him?
I mean, I have to say 52nd Street, if you know that one.
Yeah, I'm more of an Innocent Man. I love Innocent Man.
That's a great one too. You know, people used to ask me, when I remember my mom's friend specifically, when everyone, like all my parents' friends and everyone knew that I loved Billy Joel, and she was like, "Does he like the love songs too?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I like the love songs, bro. Those are great." But it's also not that you can tell what type of person people are by the music they listen to, but it can be an indicator of like, all right, they're into this, maybe they'll like this too, or maybe they're this type of person a little bit. But I don't think it entirely applies because, I mean, for example, like something like drill music is very popular nowadays, and obviously the things they're talking about, like the majority of people listening to it, I don't think are living in the hood, shooting people, and in gangs. I mean, it's nice that you can still like. It's not like I'll listen to that stuff because I like to listen to everything, but it's like something like that isn't. I mean, to some people, of course, it's definitely relatable. But for me personally, like my favorite music is like something I can listen to, and just the lyrics are just like they're spot on. Or sometimes it's even just one line that you listen to and you're like, wow.
Yeah. One thing I really wish people wouldn't like uh have connotations. I mean, you can't help it because it's human nature, but like a lot of people uh think like since I the way I dress or like if I like heavier music then I'm like emo or something like that. But it's like no, it's not really like that. And for a lot of people, I mean like listening to I'm not familiar with like drill music stuff, but like heavy metal for a lot of people that helps them get out their anger. So I mean like if it's a way for them to enjoy it and just feel better personally, release some of that rage that they're feeling. I mean, music's a healing thing, so
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and then most artists. I mean, I would argue some people know some modern artists don't really sing about like their actual lives. Like, I definitely think there's some artists out there that rap about, oh, I killed this person, this and that, but like that they're not like they're just doing it because they think it's cool. I guess I don't know.
yeah, that is something that's a little weird to me because it's like with art or I'm sure you also listen to the same music as me, but with the older music, you know, it's more of a like I can personally really relate to it sometimes. And I also like how like a lot of the artists like we were talking about, they actually write it about like something that happened in their life or just like it's well, and it's also something that happened to them, but it also relates to so many people. So I don't get why some of these people like, you know, gain music about like committing crimes because it's like, okay, you guys aren't committing crimes. Like it's just kind of a cool thing to like. I don't
That's something I haven't been able to figure out why the drill music and that type of music is as popular as it is. I know the way since it's popular now, it's like okay, you know, all once you're like in middle school and high school and you get like your specific friend group or whatever, and everyone's in these cliques and everything, they're like, all right, all my friends listen to this, so I have to listen to it too.
yeah,
Yeah. But before that, like I can't really think like I am trying to think why it became so popular. I mean, I guess I don't know. Like I guess like I know like when I played video games when I was younger, like playing Call of Duty and stuff, like I would never kill someone in real life, but like it was fun to play on the screen and stuff like that. So I guess in a sense, I'm trying to like put that together of like it's like you said, like an expression of like rage and stuff, and you know to that extent, like there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah. I feel like a big thing is also just your environment. So whether it be their friends or their family, people just are around it more and they just grow to like it. I don't know. Personally, I grew up with old stuff, so I like that. And I'm more of a musical person, so like the digital stuff where there's less instruments, I can't really get behind it. But like Bruno Mars actually does the drums in his song, so I can really appreciate that. And I'm so impressed that like he's an amazing singer and he can drum pretty well too. And then even the Weeknd, he's not. I don't think he really makes the beats, but he has like producers that make the beats, and they're very talented with what they do.
Right.
Other people, it's just very, and I hate I mean, like, sampling can be good sometimes, but sampling's a little, like, I don't respect it as much, you know, if you took it from.
Right. And yeah, I mean, there's remixes and stuff, but yeah, if you just flat out just neglect my own creativity or my producer that I'm working with and just like, oh, let's just use other people's stuff instead. But yeah, I mean, something I'm always amazed by is when I'm listening to modern music and 3/4 of the song goes by and a guitar solo starts and I'm like, I don't hear this from modern artists much.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is interesting. But there's one God.
One song that you need to definitely check out. It's Bruno Mars, Ed Sheeran, Chris Stapleton. You would love it because if someone told me about it and I was like, this is an amazing song and you wouldn't expect it. It's called Blow by them. And it's like a heavy rock song and it's so good, dude.
Okay.
I was blown away by it. I was like, Jesus Christ. It's so good.
But like going back to The Weeknd, one of his song called Shameless, I don't know if you know it. I think the guitar solo in that one is pretty good.
What album is
I don't off the top of my head I don't remember which album that was.
probably earlier. I don't know.
Yeah, it was not early, but it was definitely earlier.
Yeah.
Definitely before like something like Starboy. So, what do you think like the main differences are between like the modern music and the older music?
I mean, I really, I mean, like, I feel hypocritical, like, always judging it, and, like, if I say something, but I don't like how straightforward, derogatory it is nowadays. Like, it's always weird how, like, the world changes, because back in the 80s, that music was so, like, people were like, oh my gosh, this is horrible, like, for your kids. But it was just innuendo. But I kind of like that better, because it's like, you're being very, like, smart about, like, what you're saying. Like, the whole song Cherry Pie, like, the whole thing is innuendo. And, like, I just love how they think of these funny little lines to say, and you, like, wait a minute, oh, that's what that means. And you kind of laugh to yourself. But whenever you straight out, like, say curse words and stuff, it's like, it's a little bit more harsh to the ear, and there's a little bit less, like, actual talent, I guess, going into it. And I don't know, I'm not really a huge fan of, like, cursing in music, unless, I mean, sometimes it can be very impactful, which I like in Rage Against the Machine.
That's literally what I was gonna say.
Whenever it adds like that, I really love it.
Yeah, Rage Against the Machine is a band I've gotten into recently.
I love Kanye because Kanye says a lot of funny, like, lines, and it's like, this is pretty creative.
Yeah, I haven't listened to too much of this stuff, I gotta be honest. But I've heard a lot of great things, and I've heard a few songs, of course. But yeah, like the Rage Against the Machine, I just started listening to the first album, and then when I listened to it all the way through, I'm like, God damn, every single song is just amazing. But yeah, one thing about a band like that is like a band like that and The Police. I'm so sad that they did not make more albums.
Yeah, love The Police. And they have as well, like, oh my god, especially the drummers.
They have so much good stuff, and it's like, imagine there was more of this.
Oh, actually, I got to see Sting, which was a really cool experience. But I wish he would have played more Police stuff, because he played a good amount of, like, solo stuff. But yeah, to see the Police live would be one of my bucket list things.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Kurt Copeland's doing like a drumming with an orchestra thing of Police songs. Like, he's like,
oh really?
Constructing it. Yeah, it seems pretty cool.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. But yeah, I mean, like they'd have some deeper songs in there, and they'd also have stuff that's like just like what can't remember what the song is called, but it's talking. They sing about how the dog ruined your day and this and that, and it was just kind of like a surface level kind of like funny song, but like it was so good. But like I remember I think the song Miss Gradenko is about like someone who's like undercover in the CIA or something, and they're like trying to make sure she's safe in there, trying to get the information and stuff like that. You don't hear many artists like come up with something like that and make a song about that. There's the song Murdered by Numbers, which is actually about, when I first like listened to that song, I'm like, Murder by Numbers, 1, 2, ABC, 1, 2. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? But I actually have the book here about someone who wrote about it.
Oh, really?
There's not about the song specifically, but what the concepts of what the song is.
Oh, like viruses.
So what they're talking about in the song is an ancient practice called Gematria, and it's coding letters and numbers together to with different number sequences, and then like the word dawn will mean have equal a certain number, and there's different ciphers to it, and so if you dig deep into it, this is getting a little on the like government not so good stuff that's going on, but you'll see that the government uses certain events and certain famous people and all that different type of stuff to align that with the number sequences of like these, because it's from like ancient religions and stuff, so they line it up with that. And I'll give you an example. So the opener, this guy's name is Zachary K. Hubbard. He's done like a lot of research on this, and so one of the things is he talks about 9/11, and there's a lot of things that they would argue with the sequence. Like most people would think is like coincidence, but there's too many coincidences for it to be a coincidence. So just the first thing he says in the book is, should you read this book? And he says, if you think it is interesting, then on September 11th, 2001, Flight 77 reportedly hit the 77-foot-tall Pentagon in Washington, D.C. on the 77th Meridian West after taking off at 8:20 a.m. and crashing at 9:37 a.m. 77 minutes later, then this book is for you. And so it's just stuff like that where you start to question, why are all these things lining up? And for something like that, you just originally read that and like, all right, maybe it's just a coincidence. But when he goes into the depths of all the famous celebrities, why they die, the reasonings and all this different stuff, it all lines up, and it's crazy. And so for the police to make a song about that is crazy.
Yeah. I don't even know how the behind it,
I don't even know how the producers in the industry let them release that song. I honestly don't even know why. But that's something to say. But I mean, yeah, I want to move into like the kind of like the dark side a little bit of the music industry. Have you done like some research on that type of stuff?
So yeah, obviously, I mean, with every movie you see, whether it even be like rap artists or old 80s artists, like there's always definitely a dark side to it. I've seen so many movies that talk about it, but like the biggest one where it's like most blatant is with Notorious B.I.G. Like the whole Death Row label record, and like with his murder like being connected and stuff. It had Johnny Depp in it and someone else that was famous. It's a good movie.
Wait, so what can you go a little bit more depth of like, do you remember what happened?
Is that the name Death Row, right? Everyone has the t-shirts. Well, it's like the guy in the electric chair, the label record.
Oh, I'm not sure about the record company, but I know Death Row is what they put people on to, like you're set to die at a certain date.
Right, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a record label called Death Row, which was a lot of like hip hop and rap artists. But basically, like there was like a whole scandal where they said that basically like the people that run Death Row Records like put out a hit on Notorious B.I.G. and like they couldn't. I'm pretty sure they couldn't like prosecute anyone, but there's pretty strong evidence like with most stuff. And then a big thing with like 80s artists and stuff, you just really see like them getting taken advantage of by the industry, especially with their like drug addiction and alcohol addiction. And a lot of people, even with like athletes nowadays, people don't know how to spend the money that they get from these like labels and companies that they make deals with. So usually ends poorly.
Yeah. And especially, I mean, a big thing nowadays is like they're moving to like the rapper side of things, where so many rappers are dying at such a young age. And I mean, listen, some of them, they say they were in, a shootout for this and that, for like a rival gang or something, and that may be true, but there's also sometimes evidence that is like, all right, maybe there's something not really right about the story they're telling us, and something else actually happened. I mean, something like what happened with Juice WRLD and everything. It's like with all, he got, if I'm getting it right, the police and everything were landing, not landing. They were waiting for him to land.
Yeah,
And nobody, all the other artists and all of his friends on the plan, like, they didn't know what was going on. But evidence is kind of pointing at, like, Juice got as high and as fucked up as he did because he knew that was going to happen. And who knows if they had a certain case against him, or he was never going to come out again, or who knows what the deal was. But it's like, I think he knew what was going to happen, and he, like, decided, like, all right, I'm going to do this to myself.
yeah. One thing that I thought it was, I really have no idea, but I'm pretty sure, like, yeah, he was on the plane and they had a bunch of drugs, and he just, like, in an effort to, like, get rid of them, he just took a bunch of drugs, and I think he overdosed, died from the police, but I'm not 100% sure.
Right. But yeah, but like the big thing was, like, because of all the police there and everything after, like, the question is, did he know, did he get a tip from someone, or the industry said, hey, listen, man, your time's coming, we're doing this to you, whatever. I don't know how it works, but it seemed as though he got some sort of tip before, and they're like, all right, it's happening now. And he's just,
Yeah.
shit. That's such a crazy thing, because I wonder, they have the concepts such as the 27 Club. There's so many, like, artists, it's famous people at 27 dying. But in Juice WRLD's song Legends, he says, what's the 27 Club? We ain't making it past 21. So, like, he knew.
Yeah. One thing that really blew me away was Taylor Hawkins dying. That was insane. Because I love him. He's an amazing drummer, and he's so young. Like, hearing that happen was crazy. From the Foo Fighters, he's such a good drummer, and that was, like, drug related as well. So.
Right. And yeah, and that's what it is so much of the time. I mean, if it's like kind of like a death by your own hand, it's so much alcohol is involved, so many different drugs are involved, and like you said before, like, a lot of it might be because they want to achieve that state of feeling they have on the stage, because it's like, that's something that you definitely, like, you can't recreate that, and when you're not playing live.
Yeah, just that feeling of being, like, loved and appreciated by so many people, and just everyone loving your presence is such a great thing. And a lot of the artists feel so lonely, like, when that's over, and just being on the road, and they're also away from their loved ones and stuff. It's just very difficult. That's why a lot of times I tell people, like, one, it's crazy hard to become famous, and two, like, is it even a good thing,
Yeah, because it's once you reach that level of fame and status and money, it's people wonder, like, they wonder what to do with themselves, and especially nowadays with all these big artists. And, like, I know the Weeknd will, like, he'll put Symbolism in his music about, like, all right, I'm not happy, I'm stuck in this, like, I'm doing all these drugs, I'm getting with all these girls, but it's not fulfilling, but I'm just stuck, what else do I do with my life? And what I think about is, I don't want to put in terms of that level of fame and stuff like that, because once you're at that level, especially nowadays, you can get all the girls you want, blah blah blah, this and that. But on the girls aspect, it's like, how will you ever, if you don't have, like, a partner with you, like, on the come up with you, who was there before you started doing your music and got famous? How do you know that the girl you're dating or wants to date you or whatever, I don't know if they actually want you for you?
Yeah, that really sucks.
I mean, that would, like, eat me up forever, because I don't know if I'd be able to, like, discern. I don't know if I'd be able to discern, like, does this person actually want me for me, or do they just care about the money, or because I have so much fame and stuff like that? And I mean, that's definitely something that so many people at that level have to deal with.
Yeah, that's a horrible thing to have to deal with. I mean, nowadays, like, we even have our own curiosities as to why someone's with us. But then whenever you're even, like, higher status and have all that fame, that would be awful to deal with.
It would be insane. But moving on a little bit, in terms of your YouTube, how do you, we were talking a little bit about the positive comments before and how those always keep you going and how amazing those are. But how do you interpret the negative comments that you get?
So a lot of times, I mean, I'm very open to hearing what people say. And I know sometimes I'll post a video and I'm like, that was okay. Or it's just like, yeah, that's a hard song. But a lot of times people just want to say something and it's like, dude, what are you saying? A biggest thing for me that really annoys me now is my number one comment. It's not even really a hate comment, but people are like, "You look so bored," and it's like, okay, one, there's three reasons. One, I have a resting face like that. I mean, I just do that. Two, I'm really sometimes I'm concentrating and my face is just blank and I'm just really thinking about what I need to be doing. And three, I do this every day, so like, give me a break. Because I feel like you just got to be real with people. Like I don't know about you, but you see these like like really attractive girls or just guys with like paint on the drums, and they're just trying to like put on this show for people and like make it all flashy. I mean, that is very good for the algorithm nowadays, but I don't want to be fake. I mean, that's more draining to just put on this false personality, you know. But yeah, I usually look at like the actual meaning of the comment because you can tell some people are just trying to say something negative and it's like, okay, why? But you really gotta look at more of the positive, see um like how many people you're actually impacting and like sometimes you don't even realize it, but yeah, you really are changing people's lives. And then but you also gotta be open to listen to what people are saying. If they're giving you critiques, it might be valid. So you just got to look at it and hear them out and respect them because you get your fame, you get sometimes money from these people that are helping support you. So you have to listen to them and be appreciative.
I think that's a really good take on that. But yeah, I like literally just started posting on like drum type stuff. But the first like video full video I posted, song cover, was The Unforgiven by Metallica. And then the next day I posted like a short, like a 6 to 7 clip of it. And so you know all the jokes about Lars and like, oh, it's a bad joke.
Oh, yeah.
So someone commented, Lars better hope the rest of the band doesn't see this video. And I was like, thanks, man. I appreciate that. So I just, yes. But yeah, I completely agree. Taking with the listening to the negative comments, and of course sometimes they're completely invalid and sometimes they have a good point. It's like, especially with like drumming, it's like someone could say, oh, you messed up with this part, and maybe you didn't notice, and you're like, oh yeah, you're right, like I could probably improve on that. But yeah, I mean, but then you could take that, I mean, not, it might not even be a necessarily negative comment, it just might be constructive criticism, and you could turn it into like a positive thing. And
Sure.
and I mean, you know, dealing with like negative comments, and of course it's something that like I'm new to because I haven't been on the content space for that long. But I mean, it's just like it goes along with other things in life. It's like you have to like kind of train yourself in your mind to like be okay with people saying negative stuff about you, because it's like, especially in terms of content creation, it's like you're doing what you want to do, you're enjoying doing it. It's like you can't really let one person that doesn't like what you're putting out get you down, or someone who says you're shit at this or whatever it is. It's like, just keep doing you, and then yeah, it'll be all right.
The biggest thing for me is like I've grown to the point where sometimes you just laugh at it because sometimes it's either the same thing or it's just like something silly. Like I always laugh whenever someone says I look bored. I'm like, a big thing that I used to always get, which is probably argue. I mean, it's kind of valid, but it's, to me, it's more annoying than the bore thing. They're like, this isn't an 80s song. It's like, dude, I don't just play 80s songs. And I'm also offended because it's like, I know this music so well. I love this music. And I think it's because, you know, there's so many of these kids that buy these shirts from Target that say Guns N' Roses, but they have no idea any of their songs. But I think they think I'm some dumb kid that thinks this is an 80s song when it's not. It's like, I'm fully aware. I love this music, you know? Old people get very defensive about it. And that's one thing that kind of sucks for you and me drumming older stuff. I mean, young people can be mean sometimes, but these old people are very defensive about the music they grew up on. But they can also be very loving. Like when I told you, whenever they say, oh, this brings back great memories, so I roller skated to this song. That always makes me happy. They feel younger listening to it, you know, it's cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, Evan, I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Where can people check you out?
So all platforms, Evan the 80s drummer, just type that in, no spaces, and you'll find me on every platform: Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram.
Well, it's been a great conversation.
Yep, I loved it. Thank you.
All right, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.